Let's go watch it in 2D. No, let's go watch it in 3D. But if we watch it in 3D, then is it worth the cost?
At the end of the last ice age, when our world was a harsh and unforgiving place, a boy who was separated from his family found a wolf separated from its pack. Together, they forged a bond that would change the course of human history. Alpha.
Hello. This is Adolf Vega from 3D or 2D.com, and today I'm reviewing Alpha. As always, I'll talk about the 3D element first. Alpha is a gorgeous movie and is made to be watched in 3D. The 3D fits this movie like a glove. It's just so perfectly interwoven into the movie and scenery. It's just fantastic. The movie uses depth to a fantastic degree. There's a large cliff at a major location within the movie, and the 3D depth really highlights the sense of height you get in those scenes. The 3D visuals create a more immersive experience, as it feels like you're in the movie with the characters. Snowy scenes use multiple layers of 3D and give you a real sense that you're in the snowstorm with the characters. Overall, the 3D visuals are sharp and vivid. This is fantastic. I loved watching this movie in 3D. The movie even uses pop-out 3D in fun and smart ways that complement the action scenes in the movie. It's not gimmicky. It's just part of the movie-making process. This is as important as color, almost. The 3D isn't perfect, unfortunately. I have some issues with darkly lit scenes and some ghosting double images. Occasionally, the movie will go up and look at the stars, and it's cool, but it just looks a little bit off. You know, I watched this in IMAX 3D, and I could easily recommend it, because the bigger format like this just works so well with the huge environments and locations that are being shot on screen. It really is something you need to watch in 3D. It's a great example of how to implement 3D in an immersive way that really adds to the enjoyment of the movie. So my final verdict for the 3D element of this movie is great 3D.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
This podcast is brought to you by 3D Wiggle. With 3D Wiggle software, you can impress your family and friends with 3D gifts and videos. To find out more information, please click on the link in the description for 20% off coupon as well. This podcast is also brought to you by Patreon. With Patreon, you can become a patron and get this podcast commercial free and get many more benefits. Please click on the description again to get more information. Now, back to the show.
Now, onto the movie itself. Alpha is a gem of a movie. When I walked into this theater, I was like, I don't know how this is going to be. It might be alright, I guess. I don't know, maybe. You know, it's a dog movie, prehistoric. And on the left, I was like, wow. You know, Alpha tells us a tale of how humanity domesticated wolves into dogs. The movie takes place in Europe about 20,000 years ago. We follow the character of Kita, a young man who is isolated from his family and friends. The story for this movie is fairly simplistic as you watch Kita befriend a wolf and attempt to return home. The movie has subtitles, and I was thinking, you know, if this was going to have subtitles or we're just going to be all, you know, completely a, movie without any language or dialogue. It would have been a bold choice, and I don't regret that it does have it. It does explain things. It would have been a little bit more interesting if they would have just not explained things to you, and how they directed it and shown it on screen could have shown how, what's going on. That would have been a really bold choice, and I understand why they didn't do it. And I didn't really have a problem with it. You get maybe a sentence, or two. You really don't get, you get a sentence or two between characters. You don't get huge blocks of, dialogue to read paragraphs. You just get a little bit here and there, and it makes sense, and it works. The hook which is the domestication of wolves into dogs, might be the main thing for this movie, but has many bigger themes, such as loyalty, compassion, and love. I mentioned the son character of Kiru, but I also want to mention the father. The father is fantastic. He shows a lot of compassion here, and, just all the characters, they're very simple, but I really like them. This is the kind of movie I wish I could watch with my father. Unfortunately, he passed away. And it's the kind of movie that after you watch it, you want to adopt a dog or go buy one, because dogs are such great creatures. If you decide to do that, I would strongly recommend you adopt it. Remember, dogs are great pets, but it takes a lot of work to train them, and it's not an easy thing to do. Dogs, you have to take care of them for all their lives, which could be, 5 to 20 years, depending on the breed. And it's a lot of work, but they are wonderful creatures. If you do adopt, if you do decide to adopt one because of this movie, please go to your local shelter. Regardless, let's get back to the movie itself. Movie's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's an Instagram dream come true. The visuals, cinematography, locations all look stunning. The movie feels authentic and realistic and raw. It feels like, seeing this prehistoric world, I feel like I'm transported into it. And, it's so beautiful how the world was before humanity destroyed it with pollution and cities. And, it's just gorgeous how they did this movie. Movie starts off, with a hunt. And unfortunately for me, the only issue I had with it was that the editing in this movie is kind of weird. The movie, like I said, starts off with the hunt. It's pretty exciting, pretty good. And then like halfway, it cuts to a flashback where you get to see the characters and know what's going on for the hunt, which is fine. I'm totally fine with that scene. It's just, why cut it that way? Why edit it that way? Just tell your story straight. You don't need to have this cut. You just show it linearly in a linear fashion, and you're fine. So that's the only real issue. Toward the end of the movie, the last act, I feel like some of it got repetitive, some of it got redundant, it's a little bit superfluous in scenes, but it works. It could have just been cut down a little bit. It does feel a little bit long. Whoever trained the animals in this just did an excellent job. It's just superb. The movie I found compelling and fascinating from beginning to end. Overall, I really loved this movie. Before wrapping up, I have to talk about my patrons on Patreon. They provided the money that I could pay for the ticket to watch this movie. And I loved it. And I love my patrons for giving me the money to watch this. I would have skipped this great movie if it wasn't for people on Patreon. And if you haven't already decided out about helping me out, you could become a patron for as little as $1 a month. This movie really moved me. It's a simple, simplistic story that is heartfelt. Alpha is a fantastic film and is easily one of the best, my favorite movies of 2018. Final verdict will be a solid 9 out of 10. Thank you for listening. Bye.
All right, before this podcast ends, I want to give a thank you to my patrons. Right now, we have one patron, which is David from Spain, and I want to thank you for your financial support to help making this possible. If you want your name to be called out and your location, please become a patron on Patreon. Our link should be in the description, or just look for us, 3D or 2D, on Patreon, and you get plenty of benefits. So again, thank you, David from Spain, and I hope to have many more Patreon patrons with us soon. Thanks again, David. All right, so that's going to be it for this podcast.
We now have a Patreon, and the link is in the description. Thanks for watching.
And we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, a little bit everywhere. Just look for us, 3D or 2D. And of course, review us on iTunes. And if you want to write us a letter, our email address is email3dortwo d@gmail.com. So that's going to be it. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye. Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.